Uncle Doug.
You?
You know, we sure take the piss out of a lot of religions, don't we?
Sure do.
We sure have some good times and a lot of fun with just, you know, your Muslims, your Mormons, your Catholics, just whoever. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we never talk about the Buddhists, and I'll tell you why. Because that's the right one. That's the true one.
Right, exactly.
Every guy I work with in the industry over 50 who's had 2 bad divorces, a coke habit, and court-ordered anger management is a Buddhist now, and I think that's a good thing. I think they found the way.
They fixed it.
All right. Well, moving on.
Nope. Hey, let's put a pin into that phrase, take the piss out of, because later that might just keep that in mind.
Keep it in mind.
We're going into some very odd territory here. We've talked before about various versions of religious ascetics. Mm-hmm. The Digambara Jains, who refuse to own and or wear clothes, that we discussed in episode 68, jump to mind. Mm-hmm. The concept of asceticism is all about denying oneself sensual pleasures in pursuit of some sort of spiritual enlightenment. Mm-hmm. In other words, giving up real things that are nice and feeling mostly miserable in exchange for a sense of moral superiority that you then are supposed to also feel bad about, because that's not good either.
You could sum that up in what someone at my job said to me the other day.
Okay.
When I was about to eat a bite of an apple fritter. Nothing tastes as good as being skinny feels.
Gross. That's the grossest thing. And I know that lots of people say it. Just know that if you guys are out there are saying that, you're gross. Anyway, because apple fritters taste demonstrably better than being skinny feels. I promise you. There's a whole spectrum of asceticism, however. There are light practices like Mormonism's monthly Fast Sunday, where Mormons torture their children by denying them any food before church and then make them listen to their neighbors cry about how important Joseph Smith was.
It's a weird religion.
For reasons that they never fully grasp.
Right.
Then there are medium practices like the so-called whirling dervishes, which we could do at some point. They're Sufi Muslim men who don pretty white dresses and flower pot hats and spin around and around and around until I feel nauseous just watching them on YouTube.
It looks like a good time. It looks like a good time.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or also another medium practice might be whatever Daniel Day-Lewis does to himself before he acts in any movie. That's all chump change, though. Today, I'm going extreme. The form of asceticism I want to talk about isn't just about gaining some small incremental measures of spiritual understanding. No, fellas. Today, we're going for the whole enchilada. It's 100% enlightenment or fuck off and die. Literally. Today, we're talking about Sokushinbutsu. That is as close as I'm going to come. I assume
That's
that
one
I
of my
nailed it.
favorite things ever to talk about. What is that, Dan?
Listen, before we get into what that is, a little background. Sokushinbutsu is a Buddhist thing, having occurred mostly in Japan, but also noted in other parts of Asia, including China, Thailand, Tibet, and India. Now, if you know Buddhism at all, you know that it follows the teachings of Gautama Buddha, a 5th century BCE Indian fella who taught some very nice things about living a good life and also some very wacky things to go along with them. If you really know Buddhism, you know that one of the Buddha's main points was what he called the middle way or middle path. This was super important to him. You see, Gautama Buddha had tried the severe asceticism thing and decided that neither that nor sensual hedonism was the best way. He was very clear that a nice middle-of-the-road approach was the way to enlightenment. But you know what? Sometimes ascetics gotta ascete. And why should every Buddhist have to listen to Siddhartha Gautama anyway? Just because he's the Buddha? Grow up. So, enter a small group of Japanese Buddhists who are apparently bored out of their minds, possibly literally, and looking for some good shortcuts to nirvana. But how? How can one achieve total enlightenment in just a few short years when it usually takes several lifetimes? Well, the gruesome, terrifying answer is Sokushinbutsu, which when you enter into it, when you enter it into Google Translate, comes back as Instant Buddha.
That sounds like a sitcom on CBS.
Right? Actually, we're pitching it. Mark set up the meeting.
Spiritual cup of noodles. I love it. That hot water.
Exactly. It is, and I promise I'm not making this up, self-mummification.
Oh, no.
But wait, Uncle Dan, how is that possible? Well, I think you'll be sorry I pretended you asked that, but here goes.
I'm leaving.
Yes, exactly. The path to becoming a Sokushinbutsu is a long, terrifying, painful road. The object of the game is to prepare your body while you're alive to the point where, once you die, it will not decompose.
Oh.
This is a fascinating goal, but strangely, lots of religions, including Christianity, have viewed uncorrupted corpses as a sign that the person was extra super awesome in life, so it isn't without precedent. From around 1000 CE to the beginning of the 20th century, only about a couple dozen guys have ever successfully achieved it, with some of these mummies still around from at least 5 centuries ago.
Okay.
So, what's the recipe? I distinctly don't hear you asking, Uncle Doug. How do you make yourself die with nothing of interest to little microorganisms? How can I become an instant Buddha? Well, it all starts with Mokujikigyo. Nailed it. Which roughly translates to tree eating. Don't at me. Anyway, you basically survive on pine needles, resins, seeds, nuts, berries, and yes, bark.
So you're a vegan. You're just a vegan.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe some river rocks for fiber.
Yeah.
The goal here is to eliminate as much fat and muscle as possible from your body. Continue this for a reasonable amount of time. Let's say, I don't know, anybody want to throw out an amount of time?
A decade?
That's right, 1,000 days. We'll start with 1,000 days. The better part of 3 years. But, if you don't feel confident it'll work after the first 1,000, feel free to do another 1,000. It's fine. Or even another. Only you can know for sure when your body is completely inedible to even the most discerning of bacteria. For extra credit, you can also drink a tea made up of the sap of a tree that's used basically as a lacquer. This has a two-for-one sort of benefit, both making you throw up a whole lot and quasi-embalming you as you stand there, which is a great deal. Now it's time to start weaning yourself off the devil's sauce. That nasty habit you've had, you knew that you would have to give up someday. That's right, water. Start slowly tapering down the old H2O until you've rid yourself of the stuff for good.
I don't think
good.
That's how it works, but that's fine.
What's that? You say you feel like you're dying, Uncle Doug? Great! Then we're ready for the final phase of the process. We will now put you into a small, nondescript pine box, just big enough for you to lie down in, or maybe there's room for you to sit cross-legged in lotus position for a few days. Don't worry, if your legs fall asleep, you probably haven't been able to feel them for a while anyway. We'll include a long bamboo tube to provide air for breathing, not sure why, and a little bell. Then we dump a bunch of charcoal on top. Isn't that fun? You're basically buried alive.
Okay.
We lower the coffin or meditation chamber into a hole in the ground, and all you got to do is ring the bell every now and then to let us know that you're still disappointingly living.
Jesus.
You just chill down there, ringing your bell and thinking about your life choices until you stop ringing. That's when the rest of the monks will know that you're dead, and congratulations, your work is complete. Now all that's left is for the other monks to seal your chamber and wait for another 1,000 days. If you're still in one piece when they reopen your box, you did it! You're a Buddha! They'll clothe they'll clothe your disgusting shriveled body in priestly robes, set you on a pedestal, and worship your nasty corpse forever. You won't be around to appreciate it, of course, but man, what a legacy.
Yeah.
Why?
Mind you, the vast majority of monks who have attempted this have failed. So that sucks. But if you manage it, well, your life sucked just as much as if you had failed. So, well, I don't know.
So
Whatever.
What happens when they dig you up and you've started rotting?
Well, then they actually just rebury you, and you're just a dead guy. You're just a regular old dead guy.
Back in the hole.
They do think that you're pretty neat for having tried, and they will revere you, but they won't worship you.
Okay.
So,
It's kind of a high stakes game, self-mummification. You really only get one shot.
It's
Right?
yeah, exactly. It's like those guys who play poker and go all in on the first hand. That's all you got. Okay, so mind you, as for the fellas who have achieved this, there are several that you can go and visit if you're interested. Just head to the sparsely populated mountains of Yagamata Prefecture in Japan and have someone point you in the direction of one of several temples where there is a dead guy in the middle. And that's it. That's how you make a Buddha in just a few thousand days.
I don't think I'm going to go to that place.
You don't want to go to there?
Not again. Not again. It's
Not after the first time.
Yeah, I'd be banned.
Yeah. So there you go. Not all mummies. Some are self-chosen. And when I learned that...
Is this a thing anybody is still doing?
No, it was made illegal in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So it hasn't been happening that we know about. There may be some, underground Sokushinbutsu clubs.
Yeah.
But as you know, the first rule of Sokushinbutsu Club is that you don't ring your bell about Sokushinbutsu Club.
Exactly. Is that you're too dehydrated to talk about it?
Right, yeah, exactly. So yeah,
wow, well, that's Buddhism, everybody.
I'm pretty sure that this was what Christian Bale was trying to do before he filmed The Machinist, but he decided to stay alive instead.
Got goddamn close.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're looking for fame and glory,
you look elsewhere.
you could do a lot better.
Got a really fucked up way for you to get there.
Yeah, exactly. But
Well,
at least
gee,
you'll be
that
dead
was
at the end.
That was a very appetizing, and I'm starving, so let's move on.
You're welcome.